said this 30 years ago, and now it magically was so. And by the way, Bob Lazar has made no money on this whole UFO thing. It's just caused him a lot of grief. It cost him a marriage. It cost him a bunch of money. It cost him a bunch of friends. Okay. In fact, they even raided he now lives in Michigan, and he runs a scientific supply website where you can buy stuff for scientific experiments, and schools buy them, and like a clearinghouse for like a MSC for scientists. Okay, that's kind of what he runs. But the FBI raided his place not too long ago looking for something. Lazar says it's element 115, which he never kept, never had. But they continue to hassle the guy. Okay. So again, if it's not so, then what is it? Now, how do I link all these things together? How do I link together the California earthquakes, Bob Lazar, the Nephilim, Gobekli Tepe? How do I link them together as being the same? Because most who blame fracking, pollution, poor water management on the earthquakes would never, ever, ever consider Bob Lazar or the Nephilim or Gobekli Tepe to be legitimate. At least the theories behind them to be legitimate. And I say they're all the same. They're all exactly the same. And here's why I say that. Because with all of these items, with all of these issues, with all these people, places, and things, the earthquakes, Lazar, the Nephilim, Gobekli Tepe, nobody knows for sure. Nobody knows for sure. But perhaps, just perhaps, it could be the way these guys say. Maybe there really was a Nephilim. Maybe there really was somebody helping out the folks at Gobekli Tepe. Maybe Bob Lazar is 100% legit. Maybe the California earthquakes are being caused by fracking and the water being depleted by humans. Okay, maybe. Because here's what you have to consider. Something that Bob Lazar said, and an instance that he mentioned, or just a factoid that he mentioned, that you really need to consider. Never, ever, ever, ever discount the possible. When Bob Lazar was talking about the alien spacecraft that he was reverse engineering, he said they used technology that we couldn't even consider, and it had to do with changing gravity. He said the best way to describe it is if you put a bowling ball on a bed, on a mattress on a bed, and then take your fist a foot or two away from the bowling ball and press down on the mattress, the bowling ball magically rolls towards where you put your fist. He said that's the best way he can describe the way these spacecraft fly. Okay, they do something to gravity and it causes it to move. Now, even today, we really don't know how gravity works. We really don't know what gravity is. We know what the cause is, but we don't really know how gravity works. And Bob Lazar mentioned, the way he puts it, he says, consider this. Nuclear power. It's something that we've had around for a long time. Okay. So we kind of take it for granted. We know how nuclear power works just fine. But what if you took a nuclear power plant, a working nuclear power plant, and set it right smack dab in the middle of Philadelphia in 1800? People would see it. They'd say, wow, this thing's generating a lot of energy. But there's no coal. There's no steam. There's no power. I have no idea how this is even working. And what they would end up doing is basically they'd go into the reactor and they'd check it out. And then they would all die from radiation poisoning because they don't know what radiation is. They don't know what plutonium is. They have no idea. They would look at it and they would be smart enough to figure out, this thing makes energy. And they may even find a way to harness that energy. But it would take them a long, long, long time to figure out how a nuclear power plant worked because it was totally foreign to them. The same thing with the Nephilim. The same thing with Bob Lazar's theories. The same thing with how did the people of Gobekli Tepe build these structures without the wheel. The same thing with the California earthquakes. We really don't know. Now, if you thought I was going to go ahead and give you the true answer, I'm sorry for the disappointment, because I don't know either. Something you have to consider. I mean, the Nephilim, the Bible, many people say, the Bible is just fantasy, okay? That's what the smartest people in the world say. Strong, how can you even say that the Nephilim are in the Bible when the Bible is just fantasy? That's what the smart people say. In fact, it's always funny that the real smart people, the people who think they're real smart, I'll just say that, are always the ones who poo-poo the Bible as just a fairy tale. Consider that 600 years ago, the smartest people in the world were absolutely positive that the earth was flat. And they were wrong. If you discount the possible, you are doomed to never know the truth. Let me repeat that. If you discount the possible, you are never doomed, or you are doomed to never know the truth. The California earthquake theories, and there's many of them. Bob Lazar's stories, and there are many of them. The stories of the Nephilim, there are many of those. And the theories behind Gobekli Tepe, many, many, many of those. You cannot discount those. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, one of the best writers of all time. He was he did all the Sherlock Holmes books. I've read them all. And one of the things that Holmes always said via Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, or Sir Arthur Conan Doyle said via Holmes, I would say, is the truth is found when all other possibilities are eliminated. So until you eliminate those other possibilities, you cannot discount anything as perhaps, just perhaps, being the truth. Well, that's it. I'm done. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I always appreciate your support. JamesStrongShow@hotmail.com. That's the easiest way to get the podcast. Send me your email. Send your email address to JamesStrongShow@hotmail.com. I will put you on the mailing list, and I will send you a link of the podcast that you can look at, download, and listen to at your leisure upon publication. As I mentioned before, please share with your friends. 1, 2, 3 of your friends. Share the podcast with them. I'd love to spread this, get this thing going even bigger than it is right now. Spreaker.com is the website. iTunes, iHeartRadio. God, there's that long list. iTunes, iHeartRadio. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Tumblr. I'm on Spotify. I'm on SoundCloud. I'm on Google Play or Google Tunes. A lot of different websites out there. YouTube, even on YouTube, folks. Out there on many, many different formats. That's it. I'm done. Have a good weekend to all. Until next time, this is James Strong saying adios.